Welcome back to the program. It's Sunday, July 21. Great to have it back with me. Subscribe to the channel, please. Help me out. Like the video. Tell your friends and family. Appreciate it. One thing I love about the British Open is we get to watch golf in the morning here in the U.S. Love it on a Saturday and Sunday. And there's a bunch of American flags on the leaderboard, which makes me very excited. For the first time since 1982, an American player will have won all four majors. If this works out today, we have Billy Horschel in the lead at 4 under. He's going to tee off here shortly. Second place is South African, Tristan Lawrence. Then third place, Sam Burns. Actually tied for second, Sam Burns. USA guy. Also tied for second, Russell Henley, another USA guy. Also tied for second, Xander Schauffele, another USA guy. Justin Rose tied for second out of the UK. Daniel Brown, guy came out of nowhere. Probably won't be up on the top of the leaderboard at the end of the day today. Again, another guy from the UK. Scotty Scheffler, the number one golfer in the world at -2, third place. So it should be fun to watch today. Yesterday was crazy on the back nine. Rain and wind came to Troon and knocked out a bunch of players, including Shane Lowry, who was 8 under at one point and finished 1 under on the day. So it should be fun to watch. USA, USA. All right. I want to talk about the chaos that is going on in the Democrat Party and their presidential candidate. Democrats have created quite a mess for themselves. Since a debate on June 27th, the left has discovered something the right has known since 2016. Joe Biden isn't fit for the presidency. The 2020 Dem primary was a mess. The mix of candidates was bad. No real standout right from the Iowa caucuses on February 3rd. Bernie Sanders won Iowa with 26% of the vote, followed by Pete Buttigieg with 25% of the vote. Biden came in fourth with only 14% of the vote. And that was after Elizabeth Warren in third place. So a horrible showing for Biden right out of the gate. Remember now, this is his 4th time running for president. Then on to New Hampshire. Bernie Sanders again wins with 26% of the vote, and again followed by Pete Buttigieg. Again, Biden came in fourth, this time behind Amy Klobuchar. Then we're on to Nevada. Bernie again wins with 40% of the vote. Biden gets second with 19% of the vote, just ahead of Mayor Pete. At this time, the leftist media was warning about the perils of a Bernie Sanders win. Too far left, too old, not a team player, no one likes him. And Hillary was saying no way to Bernie. So behind the scenes already, they're trying to find a way to take away democracy, to take away the voters' choice of Bernie Sanders and replace him with someone more palatable to the party. Then came South Carolina. A Faustian bargain was made to block Bernie. It will be Joe Biden as a selected candidate. Not by the voters, mind you, but by the powers that be. Biden will do their bidding. Enter do-nothing senior House Rep Jim Clyburn, a Biden fan, a career politician, who starts pulling all the levers in South Carolina to get the black vote behind Joe Biden, away from Bernie Sanders. Other candidates start dropping out, led by Mike Bloomberg. Come the South Carolina primary, Biden comes in first with 49% of the vote out of nowhere. What a turnaround from the first 3 primaries. Bernie came in second, followed by who? Tom Steyer came in third in the South Carolina with 14% of the vote. That was it. The message was sent out. Joe is our guy. The rest of you have to leave the race so we can collectively take on Trump. Tom Steyer dropped out on February 29th. Pete Buttigieg dropped out on March 1st. Amy Klobuchar dropped out on March 2nd. Mike Bloomberg dropped out on March 4th. Elizabeth Warren was out on March 5th. Tulsi Gabbard dropped out on March 19th. And Bernie Sanders finally dropped out on April 8th. Biden has not impressed on the campaign trail. His frailties were already evident to all on the right. He has a lifetime of lies and plagiarism to defend. His creepy behavior to young girls and women was well documented all over YouTube. He had a list of offensive comments towards minorities. 35 years of gaffes and misspeak. But the Obama team felt they could control him and begin a 3rd Obama term. A lifetime moderate do-nothing senator an inconsequential vice president. Finally, on his fourth try, he would be the candidate for president in 2020. Again, not selected by the voters, but by the players. He turned hard left towards the progressive wing of the Democrat Party, and the mess began. The right was pointing out daily his infirmities, how his team was keeping him from the public eye. He was controlled and tried to speak as little in public as possible, especially when it came to speaking off the cuff, because we all knew he couldn't do it off the cuff. He couldn't do it without a gaffe. He couldn't be spontaneous, extemporaneous. For the 2024 race, the Dems rearranged the primary calendar to bring South Carolina first. Challenges were ignored, debates were rejected, and the cover-up of his infirmities continued. By early 2024, it became evident the lefty insiders knew Joe couldn't continue, and the unprecedented step of having a debate before the GOP and Dem conventions was taken. And we all know the now infamous date, June 27th. It will live in history. The idea was, let's see what Joe has. If he doesn't have it, we can replace him. Everyone on the right knew it was coming. I talked about it on this show. And as expected, Biden failed. And shock and surprise was feigned by his supporters and handlers in the media. Now they have quite a mess in their hands. Joe can't be president for another 4 years. And this isn't about the number of his age. Unfortunately, Joe at 81, unfortunately, his mind is decaying in ways that not all 81-year-olds do. And so is the case when you compare it to Donald Trump, another old guy, but clearly has his faculties in order compared to Joe Biden. The pounding on the drum of democracy as an attack on Trump resulting from the events of January 6, 2021 makes their efforts to get rid of Joe a new level of hypocrisy. Who really selects the Dem candidate? Voters or behind-the-scenes players and billionaire donors? What about democracy? They put this candidate up twice. Barring unusual election day activities, these insiders now know he will get beat. Many different efforts have been tried to stop Trump in many different ways, culminating in an assassination attempt on July 13th, but to no avail. And now Trump is better positioned for re-election than ever. Democracy doesn't seem to matter so much. Power and control seem to matter more. Biden selected Kamala Harris as his VP because she was black and a woman. Don't get mad at me for that language. That was his language. She dropped out of the 2020 race before a single vote was cast. Her campaign had no traction. For fundraising, no one liked her. She didn't do in public appearances. She did have one highlight in one debate on a question of segregation. That was it. And it was an attack on Joe Biden. Others in the primary race were better qualified and had actually received thousands of votes from Democrat primary voters. She is not impressed as VP. Something the right has been pointing out since day one, but something the left and the powers that be have only recently admitted to. Few on the Democrat side think she can do better, that she can win. They would prefer someone else. This is why there's such consternation amongst Democrats on who to replace Biden with. They'd like to get the next best qualified candidate, but they can't. A party consumed by identity politics and DEI can't possibly select the better qualified candidate than Kamala Harris because they'll be labeled racist and sexist and they'll be hoisted up by their own petard. What a mess. They made Trump more popular than ever, and now they are trying to find a way to replace a man who simply doesn't have the mental capacity to continue as president. But they don't have a good replacement. And because of, democracy, there is a democratic way to replace Biden, and it's at the Dem convention. But that leaves the decision to voters, not to the players that be, and progressive voters. They've been brought up the campaign money issues that they have to sort out. That favors Kamala. There's lots of things I'm not even touching here that complicate this whole discussion. So what are their obvious options for the Democrat Party? Well, they can uphold their belief in democracy and let Joe go to the finish line. If he wins, he resigns from office after inauguration, and the Democrats can say they put in office the first female president. Biden drops out of the race in July, endorses Kamala. They head to the convention and hope for the best in November. Lots of complications here. Let the power players, the players with money, pick a candidate. But again, what about democracy? Have it out at the convention and let delegates select a candidate. It likely won't be Biden or Harris. Joe Biden resigns the presidency this year. Kamala becomes president, automatically the presumptive candidate. She gets all the Biden-Harris cash. She picks a VP candidate at the convention and on to November. Right now, Joe Biden is once again hiding in Delaware. He has COVID, apparently. So he's gone back to the basement. They are saying from the basement he's not dropping out. But the banging of the drum of getting him out gets louder by the day. The Democrats have no one to blame but themselves. And in particular, the progressive wing of the party. Be it Joe Biden and Kamala or whoever. What do they run on for the balance of the campaign? Orange man is bad. Orange man is an existential threat. What has gone right for Joe Biden and the Democrats since January 2021? One last note. If Biden isn't fit for re-election, can he still be president? All right, that's all I have for you. Always try to buy American.